just in time. All right, we are on record. Nia, just pop yourself on mute for me. Just put my phone on mute. All right, so you just need to have your band somewhere nearby, because we'll use that for some lazy stretching. All right, start standing up for me. We're going to do a little yoga flow to start off with. So end of your mat, soft knees, chin to chest. Really exaggerate the spinal roll down. Should take you 10 to 15 seconds to fold all the way over. Make sure at the bottom that your head is completely released. Arms are nice and heavy. Give your head a little nod and shake. Grasp your elbow in the opposite hand, so you make a little box with your arms. And that just helps let the shoulders slide down and away. Hands to the floor, walking forwards until you're in a plank position. Then lifting up into downward dog. Really press your chest towards your feet. And pedal the legs, so bending and straightening at the knees. Driving your heel down to the mat one by one. Oops. Roll back into your plank position and then drop to your knees, so you're in an all-four position. We're going to go into cat-cow. So before you move, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, scoop your belly button up to your spine. Tuck your pelvis and look towards your thighs. Sorry, I think Achilles is like having a party upstairs. Inhale, drop your belly button to the floor, eyes looking forward. Exhale, scoop your belly button up. Tuck your pelvis, eyes to your legs. Inhale, belly button to floor. Exhale, scoop. Inhale, belly button to floor. And last one, exhale, scoop. Inhale, just find your neutral spine position. And we're going to go into a side-to-side wiggle, so opening your rib cage out to the side and looking over your opposite shoulder, back to neutral and to the other side. So nice and slow here. Really get your head involved as well, so turn and look over each shoulder. Back to neutral spine. And we're going to combine those four movements. So into disco cat, belly button to the floor, out to the side, belly button into the spine, out to the other side, and back to the floor. So you're sort of making this exaggerated circle through your back. Stick to one direction for another 3, 2, and 1. Back to neutral spine and then reverse the direction. Nice and slow. Just really feeling that movement through your back, your rib cage, your pelvis and your shoulders. Another 2 and 1. And find that neutral spine again. All right, we're going to push back into a child's pose. I want you to go into a wide child's pose. So knees are apart, toes are together. Stretch the hands and reach them as far forwards as you can and put your head on the floor. We're just going to stay here breathing for about 30 seconds. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. I want you to shift your hands to the left side of your mat. Reach your left hand over, cross your right hand on top, and then press into your right hip. Feel like you're stretching open down your shoulder, your right shoulder, across the ribs, and into your right hip and lower back. Scoot your hands across, so now both are reaching to the right hand side. Back to the center. Right. Lift back up into all fours for me. And then I want you to stretch your legs out long behind you into an upward dog. Eyes should just be looking forwards. Shoulders are back and relaxed. Tuck your toes under. Lift the hips up again into the upward dog. Press the chest to your toes. And then just find your way to a seated position on the floor. So, we're going to do some work with the long band or towel. So anyone who's popped on late, grab a long band out or just a long sort of bath towel that you can roll up and grab, or like a belt or something. We're going to use this to stretch out through our hammies and our hips and our glutes a little bit. So we'll start lying on our back, and I'm just working out what side to go. So lying down along your mat, just have that band in your hands. I want you to keep your right leg heavy along the floor, and we're going to do a sequence with our left foot hooked into the band. So I've got both sort of sides of the band in my hands. Loop it around the base of your left foot. And just start with your left foot straight up in the air and right leg along the floor. Flex your foot, drive that heel to the roof. And I want you to think about keeping your pelvis flat to the ground. So we don't want to be lifting up the left side of our pelvis to lift our left leg higher. Feel like the back of your pelvis is just flat to the ground. Try and keep that left leg as straight as possible. Stretch your heel up to the roof. All right, bend that left knee in towards your armpit now. So it's going to go wide outside your body. So not straight into the chest, but outside the rib cage. Keep a firm hold on that band. Try and keep your foot flexed. Heel driving up to the roof. Kick that leg out straight again. And then I want you to extend your left hand to your left side. So the band or towel is going to be in your right hand. And you're just going to slowly lower that leg across your body. So you're rotating through your back. So now the left foot is extended to the side. Left hand is extended to the opposite side. And your head is looking towards your left hand. Really breathe into the twist. Gently bring that knee into your chest and roll so that you're flat to the floor again. Unloop the band and hug both knees into your chest. Just give your lower back a little bit of a circle on the floor. Rock up and down through your lower back. Stretch that left leg out now. Grab your band and loop it around the base of your right foot. So we start with that right leg kicked up in the air. Flexing your foot, driving your heel up to the roof. Feeling for your back to be completely flat to the floor. Knees straight. And just check that you aren't carrying any tension through your shoulders. The whole point of using something in this stretching is so that your body can stay as relaxed as possible, especially if you're a little tighter and a little less flexible. It's just easier to allow the rest of your body to relax and still get a good stretch. Start to bend your right knee in now. So remember, we're coming wide outside the body towards the right armpit. Keeping our foot flexed. Nice deep breaths. Straighten that leg back up, nice and gentle. Take the band in your left hand, reach your right arm across the floor, and slowly lower that right foot over to the left hand side of your body. If you're a little tighter through your back, feel free to bend at the knee. Looking away towards that opposite hand. Sorry, Achilles is losing his mind upstairs. Okay, gently come back to center. Unloop the band. Hug both knees into your chest and start that little circle and rock through your lower back. All right. Gently come into a seated position. We're going to go into some hip flexor and groin stretching. So we'll start with our right knee on the floor, left foot up, and Nia, you can do this all standing and protect the knee. So we're going to start off just with our 90-degree lunge. So tucking your pelvis, pulling rib cage in nice and tight, opening up through the front of our right leg all the way into our pelvis and into our hips. Shoulders relaxed, eyes looking forward, really squeezing through your glutes. I want you to take your right arm now up overhead and then gently tilt off to the left-hand side, making sure you're not leaning backwards or forwards, but straight across the body. So you might not be able to reach very far, that's fine. Remember to keep your pelvis pulled underneath. Gently come back upright. Step that left foot forward now, so you've got room to drop the hips down to a nice deep lunge. We want our hips and shoulders to be square, facing forwards, not opening to the back leg side. Try and keep your weight upright, so shoulders are stacked over your hips rather than leaning forwards over your knee. Now, if you can, come down onto the hands on the inside of that front leg, or if you're able to, drop all the way down onto your forearms. Back onto your hands if you're on your forearms. And then back into that upright position. Gently lifting out of your lunge. And now we're going to go into a froggy before we go onto the other leg for our lunges. So froggy, we'll start off with our toes together, knees apart. So making a little triangle position. Down on your forearms or your hands. And I want you to push your hips all the way back to your feet. So really pressing back. So an exaggerated child's pose. Make sure your knees are out wide enough that you get a stretch down through your groin and your hips. Gently start pulling forwards until your hips are in line with your knees. So you'll need to sort of look around and check. And then I want you to open your feet out to the side. So you're making a sort of 90-degree angle between your knees, hips, and your ankles. Once you've got your heels in line with your knees, gently push back again. So now we're just opening up a little further and then pushing back into the stretch. Only as far as is comfortable. We want it to stretch but not be painful. And then I want you to do the opposite. Start gently pulling your body forwards towards the floor, only as far as you can keep your heels on the ground still. So it might not be very far. Push back again, hips driving backwards. And then pressing forwards. Back to this sort of center point. Pop up onto your hands. Scooch your toes together again and then drop your hips back to your heels. So we're in an upright position here. And use the sort of pressure on the floor to try and press the hips back. All right, gently bring your legs together. Sit back down on your heels and just do a little rock through your hips. And then we're gonna lunge with our right leg forward now. So starting off in our 90-degree position, right leg up, tucking your pelvis, keeping your hips and shoulders facing forwards. And really squeezing that left bum cheek. Ribs pulled in nice and tight, bracing through the core. And then sweeping that left arm up and gently tilting over to the side. So straight off to the side. gently come upright again. Hands on the hips, and then step that foot forward so you can drop down into a nice deep lunge. Try not to arch your back in this position, so just make sure you're still nice and tight through your core. Shoulders are relaxed. Your shoulders are placed over your hips, not tilting too far forwards. And really just let gravity work for you here. Try and just relax into it. All right, if you can, you'll pop your hands, both of them, to the inside of that right foot. And you can stay here, or if you're a little bit more flexible, you can try and reach down to the forearms. God, is it to stay down in your lunge? You coming in? Yes. All right, lift the hips back up. So you're still in that deep lunge, but we now got our hands back up on our hips, or just resting on the thigh. Okay, gently lift up out of that. And we're going to sit on our bums now. I'm just going to change my mat position. Okay. I'm just going to do a little bit of figure 4 stretching and then some shoulders. So take your left foot up onto your right knee. Flex your foot so your toes are driving towards your shin. Sit up nice and tall. And then drive that knee towards the floor. So you'll need to actively push that knee down. And then really slowly, I want you to start to drop that left foot to the ground. Try and keep your shoulders and hips facing forwards. So you're really just rotating through the hips. So think about both bum cheeks being on the ground the whole time. Rock back up, press that knee down to the floor again, and then gently swap your legs. So left foot flat, right foot up across that left knee, sit up nice and tall, flex that foot, drive your knee to the floor. And gently lowering foot towards the ground. Rocking back to center. Flex that foot and really press that knee down again. All right. Little shoulder stretch to finish off, and a grip stretch as well. So we're going to do a seated shoulder stretch. Fingers pointing towards your bum. Chest is up nice and tall. And then bending the elbows back, but keeping our shoulders elevated. So if you can't feel a stretch, you might want to just scoot your bum a little further away from your hands. Nice deep breaths. Right, straighten up the arms and press your chest to the roof. Take an inhale. as you exhale, drop back down again. Inhale again. And this time as we exhale, we're going to lift our chest. Beautiful. Gently come back out of that one. And last thing we're going to do is stretch our forearms. So come into a kneeling position. We're going to spread our fingertips out as wide as possible. Point them normally, so away from you. And then I want you to just slowly start walking them around outside, just as far as you can. You might find that as your fingers start to point towards your legs, you need to shift your weight forward. Once you get to the opposite, so fingers towards knees, stay here and just make sure you've got enough tension through that stretch for you. Gently start walking them back out again, little bit by little bit. And then lastly, we do the opposite. So fingers pointing towards your wrist, fold down. Hope you get some good knuckle cracks while doing this. And just give that wrist a little bit of a circle. And then swap, drop the fingers down. Release and just give that wrist a little bit of a circle as well. All right, guys, done. All stretched out. Hope you're feeling a little bit more relaxed now. Let me just stop the recording.